welcome to Two Madness Podcast, our last episode for the month of June. We appreciate everybody who has been listening to this podcast. Our good friend Faith E. Anderson, thank you every time you keep listening, giving us feedback. We appreciate it a lot. And sorry for the last time, I messed up your name. So, a few weeks ago, I saw some trends on social media and people were talking about menstrual cycle, and it was quite interesting. I've not really paid attention to what some ladies go through during that period of time. And I thought, I wanted to talk about menstruation, but I thought, no, let's talk about the vagina first. I want to know more about it before we go to other stuff like the menstruation, maybe in the near future. So I had to bring an expert on it. I can't just bring anybody on it when talking about vagina. So I brought my good friend. I like this person because she's quite talented. She does stuff that moves me. They inspire me. She's a 3D animator. She's a writer, and she's a midwife. Whoa, 3D animator. Animating is a whole deal. It's a big deal. And being a midwife too is a big deal. And being a writer. Welcome, Faustina Boama. What's up?
Thank you very much. You're making me shy.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. It's been a really long time.
It's been a long time, and finally you're here.
Yes.
So I had the idea to bring you on this podcast when we start discussing a topic on animation.
Okay.
But I felt like let's talk about vagina now before in the near future we talk about animation.
Right.
So how was it when I called you and I said, I want us to talk about something on vagina? How was the feeling?
When you called me, I was like, hey, soon you have reached vagina. But I was honored, and I'm still honored about it, that I've been called to share my little knowledge on vagina, and it's a big deal for me. So thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity given to me, because the major thing about learning is giving back to society. So
true.
I'm so much happy about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you too for coming. So let's start. What is vagina?
Okay. Vagina is a muscular canal that extends from the vulva. When I talk about muscular canal, I'm talking about when I mean muscular, is it has muscles, and then a canal is a path.
Okay.
Like a tube.
Okay.
So that is leading. Like a pipe hole.
Okay.
A pipe hole that is leading from the vulva. The vulva is the first thing you see when a lady takes off her panty.
Okay, that's
yes.
That opening.
Yes.
That's the vulva.
Yes.
Not the vagina.
No.
Okay.
The vagina is a tube. So you wouldn't see the tube lying down there. If you have seen a female genitalia before, you understand what I mean.
You want to put me in a tight corner.
But you would have
I've seen videos. I've seen videos of it before and all that. Yeah.
On YouTube and other things. So if you talk of the vagina, is like a pipe hole that is leading from the vulva, then to the uterus. The uterus is where a fetus is formed, or a baby is grown.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Not the womb. So that is a uterus.
Okay.
Yes. So that is basically what the vagina is. So you put in mind that it is a muscular canal, a tube that is extending from the vulva to the uterus where the baby is formed.
It's formed.
Yes,
okay,
so
that's good.
That is basically.
So, what is a healthy vagina? Because there are quite of commentary on vagina. People most times share about the experiences on vagina, and I don't know much about vagina. Okay, I have little knowledge about it. So what is a healthy vagina?
So when you say a healthy vagina, let's break it down. What is healthy? Healthy is something that is in good condition.
Okay.
That is in good condition, both physically and emotionally. So let's connect it to the vagina. When we say a healthy vagina, what is it? A healthy vagina is one that is in good condition, simple. But that is also void of unpleasant or offensive smell. That doesn't have sauce in it. The vagina can have sauce.
So the vagina has a default smell.
The vagina has
a default smell?
That you are supposed to. It varies from time to time, because a woman usually, it is a whole lot. There are hormones that contribute to a smell, and then during your time of the month too. Okay, so it differs. So I cannot tell you that the vagina smells like chocolate and you go and then it smells like pear. No.
Okay, so let's bring back this question. You are saying that it has to be in a good condition.
Yes.
So by preset, we should know those conditions. And now you're telling me that the vagina smell varies. It varies depending on time and all that.
Yes.
So if I'm a woman, and how would I know that this particular smell that I'm smelling is my default smell, that if it changes to maybe the time of the month, it still means it's in healthy condition? How would I know? How do you know that this is the default smell? Because for me, what I've learned or what I've heard, I heard that a vagina should smell like onion.
Yes. I was about saying that too.
Okay.
But for you to be able to know something has differed is when you know how actually it is. Okay. With everyone has a different body and how it works differently. So for me to be able to know when something has defaulted is when I really know my body. That is at least as to when women are supposed to take very good care of their body. You should get time for your body to be able to know how it really looks like.
So you should study yourself.
Yes, you should really study yourself. I don't know why people are kind of shy or don't really care about getting to know how things concerning their reproductive organs look like. Yes, so you really need to get time to be able to differentiate it when it has changed. During the time of the month, there are discharges that come, but when you see a discharge that is greenish and yellowish, either than the normal whitish one that you could see when you are ovulating, you'll be able to tell that no, something has changed.
Okay.
But when you do not even know that when you are ovulating, you'll be able to discharge certain fluids that is white and then stretchy, and then you see it. And another day you say, hey, I've gotten yeast infection or candidiasis or odepua in our language. Yes. So it is when you really know the fluids that come out of your body during this time, that is when you'll be able to tell that this thing that I'm seeing is different.
It's not usual.
This smell that I'm smelling is not the usual one that I'm supposed to see. So yes, coming down, I'll say that when you find a whitish cottage discharge, that is when you should be thinking of yeast infection.
Whitish cottage discharge.
Yes.
Break it down for me. How does that then look like? It's thick and white or what?
Yes, it's thick and white. It's like cheese, cottage cheese.
So it's thicker than the usual fluid that comes out, which is also whitish. This one is much thicker. Yes,
and because this one looks like cheese. Yes, it's quite different from it. Let me see.
More solidified than being liquid.
I don't get you when you
say cheese is solid.
Yes, so you are not going to. Yes, it's thicker.
Than
okay, you wouldn't find it so thick there, like even though some people do experience that, but I mean it comes out like
fluid.
Yes, but it's not as lighter than the normal one you will see when you are ovulating.
Okay.
So I'm trying to show you some things that you see and you know that your vagina is not in good condition. Okay, so that is one of it. I'm sure as we go on, we'll get to know more about it. Yes.
Then what else? Aside, you spoke about the whitish, right? The whitish, the smell.
Yes.
Any other example again?
Like what? You find out what's there, or you see some masses in your vagina, like something let me call it a pimple. Like you see something big like pimple, you should know that
there's something wrong.
Yes, unless that's all along you have had that thing there.
Okay.
That is what leads to you getting time to steady your vagina.
Okay, then let's go to the next question.
Okay.
So, what are some of the functions of a vagina?
Okay. Functions of the vagina.
Mm-hmm.
The vagina has various functions, but I like to talk about a few of them. One, which is a very important reason why we are sitting here talking today, it is the entrance for spermatozoa. When I talk about spermatozoa, it's simply sperms. That is where the sperm passes through and then go and pass through the fallopian tubes to the cervix and then goes to meet the ovaries for fertilization.
Cool.
So it is just the path because it's a canal, so it's just passing the pipe hole. It's passing there to
fertilize the egg.
Yes, yes. And then the second thing is that it helps prevent infection. When I say it helps prevent infection, I'm talking about, the vagina has normal it has normal bacteria there, that is the Dodaline bacilli, which helps prevent infection there. So it's when it's there, it helps you to fight against other things that will come there, so that you do not get infected. So, you do not get an infection to your
layman's
vagina.
view is like the vagina has soldiers which fights against
which fights
foreigners.
Yes, that is when you try. I will go on. That is when you do certain things like douching, putting soaps, hard things there, sprays and other things, feminine hygiene products. It goes to destroy them because you do not even know the contents of the thing you are using there. And the vagina too has a normal pH, and when you bring other chemicals and things, it will affect its acidity and all those things there, which is going to kill. So if the bacteria are not finding it's a good place to stay, then they will find a way to die and then just be free.
The next
one is during childbirth. That is where the baby passes. Even though the baby is formed in the uterus, it will come down to the cervix. The last place the baby will pass is the vagina. The next one is supports the uterus. The uterus is a pear shaped, and then the vagina is down there, so it is supporting the uterus. I think that is all.
Okay, for now. Okay, that's good.
That
so we spoke about healthy vagina. Now let's chip in a bit about the unhealthy vaginas.
Okay.
How do you identify it? If I have a sister or I have a girlfriend or I have a wife and she doesn't even know that her vagina is not that healthy, how would I be able to identify that, okay, this vagina is not healthy, so we should do the right things to bring it back to that healthy state?
So that is when I was citing some examples when explaining what a healthy vagina is. When you smell offensive vaginal odor, then you should know that there is something happening there.
Okay.
Your vagina is getting sick. You find out, you see a grayish white foul smelling discharge. It's very offensive of fish. It smells like it's fish like.
Okay.
Then that you should suspect bacterial vaginosis. Bacterial vaginosis simply means that overgrowth of several organisms that is normally present in the vagina. That is what I was talking about. The one that protects it. When there are a lot of infections, it overgrows itself. So if it becomes more, then it's bringing about another infection there. And then to the yeast infection, which I was saying that it resembles that of cottage cheese. It is white discharge and it resembles that of cottage cheese. It's usually thick. When you see that there, then it means that there's something. Yes, the pH of your vagina has been affected.
Okay. So you keep sorry for cutting, but you kept saying pH of vagina. What is the pH of vagina?
Okay, the pH of the vagina varies from 3.8 to 4.5. So when when you find out the grayish, as I talk of the cottage cheese, and then you could also see a greenish yellow discharge there, is that of a sexually transmitted infection which has been caused by a Trichomonas vaginalis. That is a parasite which is giving you trichomoniasis. So again, if you find itching in the vagina, redness and irritation, then you should know that there's something there which is not making it comfortable. And then you experience pain during sex and after. And when you are urinating too, you find difficulty, then there are things there. And you experience vaginal bleeding between periods after, and then after menopause too. And then the warts that I was talking about. When you see all those things, then you should bear in mind that there's something wrong there.
Okay. So let me go to the next question. So this question is very interesting. Do all vaginas look the same? Because I have heard of something when I was growing up. I heard that your lip looks like your vagina. So the thicker your lips, the bigger your vagina will look like. The vulva will look like. Sorry, now you taught me something. Vulva, not vagina. Is it true? Do all vaginas look the same?
Okay, that's an interesting question to ask. All vaginas vary, but with the anatomical description, it's the same. Okay, you wouldn't go and find someone's vaginas in the stomach. It is just that canal that is living.
The architecture is all the same.
Yes, but with the sizes, it varies from individual to individual. And saying that when you are a child, you wouldn't have the same vagina as you have grown. So it will vary. It will differ. And then someone's vagina, how the person has even kept the place is all part of how it looks like. But the person has a lot of hair. Some people have lesser hair. It makes it vary from the other person's vagina.
So what I even said about the vulva, that's a misconception about the vagina. So it's the vulva rather not the vagina. So people keep saying that when your lips are thicker or your lips are small, it's the same as your vagina, but it's rather the vulva. And is it even true that the thicker the lips, the thicker the vulva, or the smaller the lips, the smaller the vulva?
I don't know of any anatomical description that leads the lips to the vulva. They are separate things on their own, because the vagina or the vulva is part of the reproductive system, and you are talking of the lips, is not part of the reproductive system. So it's two different things on their own. So
let's question factors that can affect a healthy vagina. Factors
that can affect a healthy vagina. When you're talking about factors, we can also say causes of an unhealthy vagina. One is unprotected sex. Where unprotected sex, which could result in sexually transmitted diseases. When you do not protect yourself during sex, that's when you don't know the status of your partner or the other person you have met and then you are having sex with, you'll be able to contract sexually transmitted disease, which can affect your vagina. Yes. So another one is the feminine hygiene products. The use of sprays, deodorants, and other things would cause irritation to the vagina, and all those, as I spoke earlier, they all have their contents and the chemicals that are being used and all those things. It would affect the normal one that is protecting the place of infection. So if you use all those things there, and then the organisms they're protecting you are not finding a comfortable place to live, they are going to die. And when they die off, that is when diseases find are happy to just jump in there because there's nothing there. If you are going to a place to rob someone and there are no security men, you are so happy as an armed robber to just go and then pick what you want and then go.
So what's even the essence of spraying the vagina? What's
well, that is a question. It's a question for all of us to ponder on, because I do not know why I would choose to buy spray to spray my vagina because I want it to smell good, or I want to keep it tight for my man and all those things. The vagina works on its own. It has its own way of coming back to its shape and then cleaning itself all over than we putting soaps and antiseptics there and all those things.
So it boils down to females being more disciplined in taking good care of themselves than getting products to take care of themselves.
Yes, it's about regular bathing and then washing there with just soap. The vagina, as I was saying, is
we'll come to that maintenance part.
Okay.
So let's focus on the factors.
Okay.
The factors that affect a healthy vagina.
Okay, so continuing, certain health conditions also cause it to be unhealthy.
Like
health conditions like pelvic inflammatory disease. Okay, when I talk of inflammation, it's something becoming big. It's being inflamed.
Okay.
So when the pelvic has been inflamed, it makes it uncomfortable. And during sex, it makes it painful.
Okay.
And yes, so when you get a lot of pain there, you see that it's continuously, you are always feeling pain, which makes it unhealthy place to live. And then when you have scars too there from previous surgeries, yes, it could cause the vagina to be unhealthy. And then as I was talking about earlier, on hygiene practices like not keeping your vulva area clean and dry, not changing your sanitary pads very often, and wearing cotton panties, wearing nylon panties instead of cotton ones. As you are saying, when we get there, we'll explain more about it. And hormone levels too. When the hormonal level of a female changes from time to time in a month, and when the estrogen levels come down, they makes the vagina lining very thin, or we'll say it's atrophied. So when it happens, it makes sex very painful. And then it could cause itching and then burning there. And then when the person has had a surgery with the removal of the ovaries, there wouldn't be any estrogen forming around. And it usually happens to women who are breastfeeding and then menopausal women too. So when the levels come down, it affects how healthy the vagina is. And during pregnancy and then childbirth too, it decreases the muscle tone of the vagina, and you could get vaginal tears, which will make the place uncomfortable. So I think that's all. Okay,
so let's come to maintenance. How do you maintain a healthy vagina?
Yes, maintaining a healthy vagina is practicing good personal and perineal hygiene. That is bathing regularly, at least twice daily. And then again, going on, you have to get vaccinated. Vaccines, there are vaccines that can protect you against viruses. That's against viruses, where human papilloma virus, which is part of, is a causative organism for cervical cancer. When I say cervical cancer, I'm talking about cancer of the cervix. So if you get vaccinated against that, and you get vaccines such as hepatitis B, which is contracted sexually and is also protecting you against, hepatitis B is a serious liver infection, which is you'll be able to get hepatitis B through sweat and then sexual intercourse. So if you get vaccinated against that, and maybe you have sex with someone and the person has the Hep B,
you get it.
Since you have been vaccinated, you do not get it. So that is when it comes to being sexually responsible, to be able to use condoms, and then to be able to protect yourself, or you stay faithful to a partner who is free, who you both of you have tested that you are free from sexually transmitted disease. And if you happen to use sex toys too, you make sure you wash them very well. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You wash them very well after use,
they
so that you do not
infection.
Yes, you do not carry any infection to your vagina, so that you be able to keep it healthy. And moving on to when you visit the toilet as a female, you have to wipe from front to back, not from back to front. When I mean front to back, from your vulva area to your anus. That is how you are supposed to wipe, but not from your anus to your vulva, because when you are wiping from your anus, you are carrying infection from the fecal matter into your vagina. So if you wipe that way, it helps prevent any infection. And then avoiding douching is when you try to insert things or products, deodorants and all those things into your vagina, all in the name of keeping it tight or maintaining the smell and all those things, which could increase vaginal infection, because douching doesn't clean up any infection. You should wear loose cotton underwear, and if possible you should skip wearing underwear when you are sleeping, and you wear loose cotton clothing to absorb moisture and then to provide good circulation also there. And then another one too is keeping the vulva area clean and dry, because yeast thrives in moist environments. They are happy to live when the place is very moist, but when you keep it often dry and clean, you do not get them hovering around the place. And you should change your sanitary pads frequently. I admit to the fact that sanitary pads are expensive. Yes, but you should try to get the cheaper ones and then change it quite often.
This brings my mind to a good friend of mine, Bill Case. So she's promoting this agenda of making the government take off huge tax on importation of sanitary pads, so that ladies can.
That is a very good thing, because when I started using sanitary pads, it wasn't as how it has risen now
in the price.
And yes, and
True.
with people who bleed or menstruate for longer days, it's difficult for us.
I don't even understand why you should put huge taxes on importation of sanitary pad. It doesn't make sense. There are a lot of products that you can put taxes on, not on sanitary pad.
There are a lot of people or small children in villages and other places who do not get the access to it, because if one pad is 6 cedis, there are some which are even 8 cedis and 10 cedis. Yes, so if one pad is 6 cedis and then I'm supposed to change it 3 times a day or 4 with people who menstruate with heavy flows, how am I supposed to buy 6 times if I menstruate 7 days? So
the females in government, this is a call for you people to stand up and talk about this huge tax on importation of sanitary pad. Doesn't make sense. So let's continue.
Okay, all right. So you avoid using strong detergents and sprays all around there all in the name of keeping the place clean and all those things. They all carry infections to your vagina.
Okay.
And then you should perform exercises, pelvic exercises, such as Kegel exercises. Let me just explain small of them. How to be able to identify your pelvic floor muscles when you are urinating. You can try to hold it a little, and then it's a form of exercise. That helps you to even identify your pelvic floor muscles.
So you hold it a bit.
Little, yes. Hold it a bit and then you release. You hold it a bit and you release. It's
a nice exercise.
Yes.
Especially when you want to urinate and you don't know where to urinate.
The males, when you try it, you find out that your penis has come backwards more with your
it goes back and forth.
Yes, so that is how it happens. There are lots more as time goes on.
We share that one.
To talk about another time.
Okay,
yes.
Sure.
So when you perform those exercises, all maintains in its health.
So let's go to the next question. So the next question is how to keep a tight vagina. This question, I did a sample research with some male friends, and one question kept coming, and it was this particular question: tight vagina. Because most guys I spoke to said they prefer tight vaginas. And you are the same guys who are also opening the tight ones to be wider. So how do you maintain a tight vagina?
Okay, how to maintain a tight vagina as a woman? As I was explaining earlier, the vagina is muscular, it's elastic. So I don't know how tight you want to
it to be again.
maintain, but a few ways you can help maintain is by eating nutritious diets and having adequate rest and sleep. When I talk about nutritious diets that will help strengthen your pelvic floor muscles. When I explained what the vagina, I talked about it being surrounded by pelvic floor muscles. So when there is muscles, when they are being strengthened or when they when they are being strengthened, it helps to keep the place tight. Foods that are rich in natural estrogen like carrots, apples, and soya beans can help you maintain. And the exercises I was explaining earlier, the Kegel exercises, it also help to tone your pelvic floor muscles and then makes it tight as you want it, by the example that I gave with the holding of the urine. And then you can also lie down flat and try to breathe in and out, holding the pelvic floor muscle for 10 minutes of use. You can start with seconds so that as time goes on you increase them. So that's it. So
about the tightness, I want you to clear this notion for me, this misinformation for me. When you meet a lady for the first time, suppose she's a virgin or she's not actively having sex and the place is tight, does it mean that when you guys continue to have sex, the place will be the same, the same dimension of the tightness will be the same, or as time goes on and you guys are having sex, the place will expand? Do you get my question? Guys want how they first had the sex and the place was that tight and it fitted their penis. They want it to be that same way as time goes on.
Okay.
Is it that way? It doesn't work that way, or as time goes on, as you're having sex, the place opens and it can't come back to the default state?
Okay, well, the muscle, as I was talking about, the vagina has incredibly stretchy muscle. While it stretches to accept the penis during sexual intercourse, it has a same way of then coming back to how it was. So lots of sex doesn't make the place loose. It doesn't make the place loose. And as I was talking about other ways of maintaining its tightness, it depends on how good and nutritious you make your partner eat, or you help it. As we are doing this discussion, doesn't mean only females should listen to. Males can listen to also educate their partners. So lots of sex does not make the place so wide, but there are factors which would which make the place wider, like childbirth. But that is why we mostly educate women or with their partners that after birth you should wait for at least 2 years or more or one to be able to get your reproductive organs going back to how they were before you got pregnant. We usually say that so that they get back to their non-gravid stage. So you need time for them to go back to how it was. And with all those exercises and good eating and other things, you'll be able to maintain how tight you want the place to be.
Excellent. So our last and final question for this podcast. I want us to debunk some myths about vagina. I've heard so many myths about vagina. So many myths. Okay, so let's debunk some. Okay, all right.
One is what we just spoke of, that continuous sex will make the place loose, which is not so.
It's not true.
It's elastic. Do you know? I don't know if you know of how do you call it? This elastic thing in your dress that we usually put in.
Yeah.
How you can stretch it
Yeah, and still come back to.
Yes, so you put that in your mind. Okay. And you see, when you wear that dress for a longer time, sometimes it gets so weak if you don't really pay attention to it, or you are just stretching and stretching. Yes, so
becomes loose.
Yes, so there are factors like that too. And then if you know of any, you can ask so that you debunk
it. Okay. So I heard that there's medicine. I heard one on, I don't want to mention the name of the product, but they do this ad on radio that when you put it there, it makes the place more tighter. It becomes like a virgin's vagina. So your husband will enjoy it, and the advert has been running so much on radio.
All about those feminine hygiene products. Well, it doesn't keep the place. I'm not here to spoil anybody's business or anything. But what I know is that I don't know of any feminine hygiene thing that will keep the place tight. It's all about how you take good care of the place.
Okay.
Yes, with those, why don't you go for the natural ways rather than thinking of chemicals, which could cause, we have a lot of allergies which you do not even know if that product has a chemical that you are allergic to, which could cause irritation and burning and all those things, making sex painful, and it's a whole.
And another myth too I heard was that once in a while you have to open your legs, you have to open the vulva, the opening, and let fire like be closer to fire, so that it can kill some diseases there for you, some germs there for you. Is it true? Fire. So you can get closer to your coal pot or your stove. You open your legs, and that's what I heard. Some of the myth I've heard. Is it true?
Do you want to get bent? That is the first question I want to ask.
So it's not true.
Oh no, there are exercise we call it as warm sit bath. Usually after women have given birth, we advise them you can sit on a warm sit bath is having a lukewarm water and then sitting on it with steam going there, but going to fire, my sister. You want to get bent. Yes, so you can also practice it as you haven't given birth, and of course it keeps the place cool for you. So I know of warm sit bath, but I don't know of going to fire then going to get yourself bent.
Let's talk before we go. The myth. These are the myths I know. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about the complications of unhealthy vagina before we go. Just some few.
Complications of unhealthy vagina, or some of the things that having or it's vice versa. The complications of unhealthy vagina and benefits, things that you take yourself out from. The complication is infection can spread to other parts of your reproductive system, like your fallopian tubes, and that is and then the body of the uterus, leading to pelvic inflammatory diseases. You can get other infections which could be an effect, or which could help, bother you in process of childbirth. Which coming down to it's affecting your fertility. It can affect fertility when there are infections there, and it can affect your desire for sex and ability to reach orgasm, because you are already feeling uncomfortable then. So why do you go then and think about sex? And while it is taking away your desire and ability to reach your orgasm, it will give you relationship problems. It will cause breaks happen, all those things. It gives you a low self-esteem as a woman, and then it could cause a premature delivery, since you have gotten infection in your reproductive organs, it could affect the baby. So they will say that let's go and take out your baby really, really quick.
Okay, so thank you for coming. I enjoyed this podcast. I've learned a lot. Technically, I've learned a lot from your stand view as a midwife. God bless you for coming. And your closing remarks.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, what I would say is that the vagina is one thing that as women we are supposed to really take time and take time to care for it, the same way that we are so cautious about our looks, about our hair and all those things. We should give time to our vagina to be able to identify its default and to be able to treat them very well. And then a research that was made in 2018 found out that about 138 million women are affected by fungal infection worldwide, according to a research review by University of Manchester scientists. So if you look at this number, you should know that it increases each day with our way of life. So as I've said earlier, we should practice all those healthy things, avoid feminine hygiene products, and rather wear loose cotton panties. So it's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you for coming. God bless you. Bye.
I see you following submission. I know you're wishing that you could let your head down and mirror my emission.